Hello, everyone. This is Jeffrey Kerr back here with Alex Meyer. We've gone over our predictions for the drama series categories, the comedy series categories, the limited series TV movie categories. Now we're back with the reality/variety series categories at this year's Primetime Emmy Awards. And so we'll be starting with Outstanding Reality Competition Program, and the nominees are.
And just like last year, we have The Amazing Race, American Ninja Warrior, Project Runway, RuPaul's Drag Race, Top Chef, and The Voice.
Yes, and last year's winner was RuPaul's Drag Race, I believe.
Nope, it was The Voice.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We
So
predicted RuPaul would win, but The Voice won again.
yeah.
Kind of.
So do you think The Voice will win again, or do you think something else will beat it?
I was tempted to predict it again, but after seeing RuPaul's Drag Race win pretty big at the Creative Arts, including like a directing win, although that doesn't always translate to what'll win this category, and given the fact that The Voice's lead producer Mark Burnett has had a long association with Donald Trump in the past, although that didn't seem to hurt him last year, but maybe this year it could finally hurt him. And I think maybe some voters, now that with the Emmys trying to become more diverse in terms of voters like the Oscars are, perhaps all of that, as a result of all that, I do think maybe this time RuPaul's Drag Race will finally win. And so I do have it in first place, although I'm not counting out The Voice upsetting. So I have that in second. And then the rest of my rankings are I have The Amazing Race, American Ninja Warrior, Top Chef, and Project Runway.
Let's see. Well, I have most of the same rankings. I have a RuPaul's Drag Race winning, with The Voice close behind, The Amazing Race in third, Project Runway in fourth, Top Chef in fifth, and American Ninja Warrior in sixth.
Well, I have Project Runway in last place because of, it was once produced by Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you know what? You've now just convinced me to move it down. Yeah. So, so I guess there's that. So,
Now then,
yeah. So I guess now onto the next category, which is Outstanding Variety Talk Series. The nominees are The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, The Late Late Show with James Corden, and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. So where do you stand?
well, I think John Oliver is probably going to win again. He did win Variety Series writing, and those often go hand in hand. The series and the writing awards in the variety categories. Plus, he tackles a lot of societal issues, so I think that also is a big factor, just like Jon Stewart always did. And of course, John Oliver was a writer on Jon Stewart's show for a long time. But then I do have The Late Show with Stephen Colbert in second place because, like John Oliver, he's a very vocal critic of Donald Trump, and he tackles a lot of issues in his monologues and everything. Plus, he, of course, won this category a couple times when he had the Colbert Report. But I actually put Jimmy Kimmel Live in third because of him. Again, he's a very vocal critic of Donald Trump, and he also makes a lot of monologues where he talks about issues like gun control with whenever we have events like with the massacre in Las Vegas or the Parkland shooting in Florida. He always makes a strong emotional plea for more gun control when things like that happen. Plus, he always is very personal. He shares his personal stories, like when his infant son was born with a heart condition and could have possibly died had Jimmy Kimmel not had the health insurance he has, which many Americans sadly don't have and probably would not have if Donald Trump repealed Obamacare, or if Congress repealed Obamacare, excuse me. But you know, but I mean, I would have probably put Full Frontal with Samantha Bee higher if she hadn't gotten into the controversy of calling Ivanka Trump the C word.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people were accusing TBS of having a double standard by canceling Roseanne but not canceling her show. But I think the difference here is that Roseanne Barr, she deliberately tweeted out a racist remark just out of nowhere and made the stupid, oh, I was on Ambien at 2 a.m. excuse. Whereas Samantha Bee, she did acknowledge she went too far, and TBS acknowledged they went too far, and they both apologized. And I think they faced rightful criticism, and some advertisers pulled their sponsorship from her show as a result. But when she was making that remark, she was criticizing Donald Trump's immigration policy. That was where and while she shouldn't have used the word she used, I think she wasn't trying to be deliberately offensive like Roseanne Barr was.
Hmm.
But I
Okay.
do think that may have damaged her cred a little bit, at least for this year. And I know there were some columns on various websites like Variety and Hollywood Reporter saying, oh, Samantha Bee went too far. She's lost her edge. She can't come back from this, or she had, et cetera, et cetera. So it wasn't like as if the industry was trying to defend her. There was quite a lot of criticism from all sides against her about this.
Okay.
I mean, I do think she'll win another category to show that she hasn't completely destroyed her reputation, but I don't think she's going to win here. And then I have James Late Show with James Corden in fifth, and The Daily Show with Trevor Noah in sixth.
Okay, I think I'll settle on those rankings for my final predictions.
All right, then next up we have Variety Sketch Series, and the nominees are At Home with Amy Sedaris, Drunk History, I Love You America with Sarah Silverman, Portlandia, Saturday Night Live, and Tracy Ullman's Show.
And I think it's safe to say that Saturday Night Live wins again, don't you think?
Yeah. Maybe there's a slight possibility Portlandia could win because it just aired its final season, but I think it's a pretty long shot nonetheless.
Yeah, that's my second place choice. Third, At Home with Amy Sedaris. Fourth, Drunk History. Fifth, Tracy Ullman's Show. And sixth, I Love You America.
Okay, I have a lot of different rankings there. I actually have Tracy Ullman's Show in third mainly because she's Tracy Ullman. She's won a lot of Emmys before, so Emmy voters clearly know who she is. But then I have Drunk History in fourth because it's one of the familiar faces, and it has an interesting concept of making people aware of historical figures and events they might not have remembered from their high school days. And then I have I Love You America in fifth place because it's Sarah Silverman, and Emmy voters clearly know who she is. And then I have At Home with Amy Sedaris in sixth, mainly because, and I have those two mainly in the bottom two because they're the only nominations their show received.
Interesting.
Well, I guess that's the same too with Tracy Ullman's show and Drunk History, but those shows are more, they've been nominated here before, so I think that gives them a slight edge, although Saturday Night Live is, I think, way, way out front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, though, why do you think At Home with Amy Sedaris is ranked? I wouldn't say high, but has a pretty good odds. Well, is ranked 33-1 in its odds.
I honestly have no idea. I've never even seen the show. I'm honestly not even familiar with most of Amy Sedaris' work, to be honest.
Same here.
I've kind of heard her name, but I don't really follow the comedy world as much, especially stand-up comedy.
Same.
That's not really my thing.
Same here as well, yeah. So I guess now on to the next category, which is Outstanding Directing for Variety Special. The nominees are Dave Chappelle, Equanimity, Jerry Seinfeld, Jerry Before Seinfeld, Steve Martin and Martin Short, An Evening You'll Forget for the Rest of Your Life, Super Bowl halftime show starring Justin Timberlake, and the Oscars, which I do have winning.
Same here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess. Well,
and then I have Dave Chappelle in second place just because his show won at the Creative Arts Awards. And then I have Steve Martin and Martin Short in third because they're icons. And then I actually have the Super Bowl in fourth just because even though Super Bowl halftime shows can either be hit or miss, it obviously takes a lot of effort to pull them off. And while I'm aware I didn't see Justin Timberlake's halftime show, and while I'm aware it kind of got a meh reception overall, it did feature some interesting things. Like, for instance, from what I heard, although this was kind of controversial, it did feature a hologram of Prince because this year's Super Bowl was held in Prince's home state of Minnesota.
Hmm.
And of course, this year marked, well, yeah, and I believe this year would have, if he had he still been alive, Prince would have turned 60 this year.
Hmm.
And then I have Jerry Seinfeld in fifth.
Okay, I agree with you on the same top three, though I have Jerry Seinfeld ranked in fourth.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it just, I just, it. This is one of those things where I don't think it really matters what your bottom rankings are
Yeah.
because Glenn Weiss directed this year's Oscars, I believe, and pretty much the rule is if Glenn Weiss is nominated here, he's gonna win.
Yeah.
And it's probably wise to not bet against him until finally someone pulls an upset win over him.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember,
Plus I have,
I
well, yeah.
remember, I remember actually back when the Emmys, when they would sometimes do the directing categories and they would ask they would ask the directors a question and it would show a clip of them answering. I remember in one case with Glenn Weiss, it showed literally behind him like a giant shelf, and there were like two rows on that shelf full of Emmy awards.
Yeah, he's won a bunch of them from other
Okay,
things.
I actually remember what the question was. The question was that year for the clip package. It was, "What did your mother want you to be when you grew up?" And Glenn Weiss, he has his daughters on his lap, and they're arguing about what his mother wanted him to be when he grew up. And he blows a whistle, and then he says, "A referee."
Wow.
Okay, and then our final category here
Is
is variety special writing.
okay.
And the nominees are Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, The Great American Puerto Rico, It's Complicated, John Mulaney, Kid Gorgeous at Radio City, Michelle Wolf, Nice Lady, Patton Oswalt, Annihilation, and Steve Martin and Martin Short, An Evening You Will Forget for the Rest of Your Life.
Okay, so what do you have winning here?
I think Samantha Bee will win this category because she did receive a lot of praise for this. And like I said before, even though she received a lot of backlash for her use of the c word against Ivanka Trump, she did at least apologize for her remark and admit she went too far and she never should have done it. So she did take responsibility for her mistake, and I think that will help her here. But I do see possibly Patton Oswalt pulling an upset because he did win this category 2 years ago. But then again, in that year, I think what also helped him win in 2016 was the fact that his wife had tragically passed away a few months earlier. So I think he had got some sympathy votes there as well.
Yeah. And I'm
Um,
guessing you have Steve and Martin Short in third.
yeah, and then I have John Mulaney in fourth and Michelle Wolf in fifth.
Okay, I agree on three of those five rankings, although I currently have Steve Martin and Martin Short in second and Patton Oswalt in third.
Okay. Well, I was kind of confused of what to put here, but I was looking at so many expert predictions, and they all had Samantha Bee and Patton Oswalt either in first or second place. So I
Hmm.
thought I should go with those two.
Hmm. I don't know if I will, but I wouldn't be surprised if I do the same thing.
Hmm. All right, and that is it. We have finished all the categories.
Yes, we have. And so before we go, I should ask now, okay, this year's Emmy hosts are SNL alums, Colin Jost and Michael Che. So how do you think they're gonna do?
Uh, I think they'll either be hit or miss. I mean, they're mostly known for Weekend Update on SNL, so they don't really have you know, they don't have like the full visibility experience like say we've of past hosts like Stephen Colbert or Andy Samberg or Jimmy Fallon.
Or Jimmy
Uh,
Kimmel?
mhm. So, I mean, they said at first they were going to avoid political jokes, and now they're saying they will have political jokes. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that since this is the 70th Emmy Awards, they didn't get someone more high profile, like say Jimmy Fallon, since this is NBC hosting this year.
Yeah,
But
or Seth Meyers.
right, but maybe they were approached and they said no. I mean, you
Well,
know,
then again, last award show Jimmy Fallon hosted, it was didn't go on very well, which was at the Golden Globes.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think the Emmys is a better fit for him because he can do more like skits and stuff. Because
Yeah.
that's what he specializes in. Because given his background from Saturday Night Live,
Mm-hmm.
I still laugh hilariously at the fake phone call Jimmy Fallon did with Justin Bieber and Bill Clinton back when Justin Bieber peed in a mop bucket and then sprayed a photo of Bill Clinton saying "F Bill Clinton," and Jimmy Fallon was like, because they were marking about how Bieber, had written an apology or whatever, or like he called Bill Clinton on the phone to apologize to him, and Jimmy Fallon was like, and we actually have a recording of this call. Take a listen. And of course, it's Jimmy Fallon doing both the voices.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Hey, President Clinton, this is Justin Bieber, yo. Justin, what's up, my man? Oh, I'm sorry for swearing and spraying a picture of you." He's like, "Hey, man, let me tell you, it was awesome."
Yeah.
you you got to watch it if you've never seen it before. It's so hilarious.
Yeah, I might just. Yeah, and I guess with Seth Meyers, he not only just hosted the Golden Globes earlier this year, but his second child was also recently born, so I guess he didn't want too much responsibility.
Yeah. Born in his apartment building, no less. He told the story of how his wife ended up giving birth in their apartment lobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, but then again, of course, maybe Lorne Michaels handpicked the two of them since he is producing this year's telecast.
Yes, he is. I mean, then again, he also probably could have gotten Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
Yeah. And we'll see. I mean, I focus more on who wins rather than who hosts whenever I watch these things.
Yeah, that is true.
Some Sometimes I feel people judge the show too much by who hosted it rather than who won. I mean, certainly the host is important, but it shouldn't be the whole focus of like your review of the show.
Well, yeah, I guess that's why some people do keep those things separate.
Yeah, because sometimes I'll read reviews for like an Emmy telecast or an Oscar telecast where they'll either go on and on praising or criticizing the host, but say barely anything about the winners and the acceptance speeches and like the in memoriam segment and all that.
Hmm. Yes, and one last question. In fact, one last prediction. I think there's going to be at least one joke regarding the Me Too movement, especially as we've had previous Emmy nominees slash winners who've now been banished from the industry due to the Me Too movement, from Kevin Spacey, Harvey Weinstein, Louis C.K., and
Bill
recently,
Cosby.
yeah, Bill Cosby, and recently Les Moonves, who was the head of CBS.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I think it was Michael Che, or maybe it was. I know it was someone on SNL who were like, when they were back when the for allegations about Bill Cosby were coming up, and like Hannibal Buress was mocking Bill Cosby of how Bill Cosby would always tell black kids to pull their pants up, and they were like, "No, Bill Cosby, pull your pants up."
Oh yeah.
Which is the truth, because let's face it, at least I think 60 women now have officially come forward to accuse him.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, let's not forget Bill Cosby, along with Roman Polanski, were expelled from the Film Academy earlier this year.
Yeah. And of course, so was Harvey Weinstein.
Although it'll be interesting to see if who else might possibly be expelled, because so far the only people that have been expelled in the wake of the Me Too movement are those who have actual criminal cases pending against them, or in Roman Polanski's case, previous criminal cases, because people like Kevin Spacey, Les Moonves, Stephen Collins, they're all members of the Film Academy, all confirmed members, but they've never been officially criminally charged with anything, and mainly I think because of the statute of limitations expiring.
Hmm.
There was word that Kevin Spacey was being investigated by the LA district attorney for a possible case, but ultimately they're not going to charge him because it's way too late to do so.
Hmm. Well, okay, so I guess now that's about it. So to everyone watching this, wherever time you are, thank you for watching. If you're like me and Alex predicting winners for this year's Emmys, well, good luck to everyone predicting them, and hopefully any one of us can do the best we can. So,
Hmm.
so goodbye, all.
Bye bye.